Welcome to Fright Fiends. I'm Jess.
And I'm Mandy.
And today we are talking about Tremors, 1990.
Ugh.
Classic.
Long time ago.
Classic Tremors. So, where do you start with Tremors?
I don't know. Underground.
Starts underground. So I'm actually going to talk a little bit about like the backstory of it, because it became like a big deal. It was a big deal to get this movie made. It was a big deal when it came out. It kind of came out as a flop, but it really built like a cult following.
Yeah, I was around when it came out.
And it was not great.
This was not raved about. Like, we weren't all sitting around talking about, we're going to go see Tremors this weekend. Like...
Well, fun fact, it was originally supposed to be called Land Sharks.
Land Shark.
I'm really glad they didn't do that, because that sounds way worse.
Yeah, I like Tremors is good.
It's not as campy.
Yeah. And also with the whole, and we'll get into it, they feel vibrations and all that. Tremors fits.
It makes sense.
Land Sharks, not so much.
Land Sharks wouldn't have been as great. So, the budget for this movie was $10 million.
Oh my god.
They ended up begging for another $1 million. They got it, so they eventually got to $11 million. And the box office made $16 million, a little over $16 million. So it was not a hit, but I looked into it a little bit, and they had a hard time really, like, promoting this. They didn't know what to do with it. They wanted to make it a horror, but they also wanted to make it funny, and, like...
Yeah, they had a hard time knowing how to promote it, and I remember, like, talking about it when it was in theaters, and some people thinking it was a comedy with Kevin Bacon, and then some people thinking it was a horror, and some people thinking they had no idea. So, like, we didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, so, like, unfortunately, I think that ended up being its downfall.
Yeah.
Is it didn't have enough views to even get talked about in a positive light. Everyone was more like, oh yeah, whatever. And then how do you describe Tremors? Now that, everybody knows Tremors, it's easy to be like, yeah, Tremors. But like, no, they're underground worms. But no, it's good. But it's good. But it's funny. But they're really they're legit. It's really difficult to explain that this movie's actually good without sounding like a psychopath. You don't make sense.
Yeah, and I think the people who did go see it, I mean, Kevin Bacon at that time, he had, like, the look that was popular.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah, right? But...
No judgment, just saying.
I think what the people who did go to see it, a lot of them saw it because he was in it.
Yeah, he was the big name.
Yeah.
He only took on the role because he was broke. He was not proud of it for a very long time. I think now he's kind of come around to it, but initially he was not... It was literally like his wife was pregnant and he needed a job. Like, he needed a paycheck, and that's why he did this. Obviously, Michael Gross is who took the series as far as it did, or the sequels, but, and Kevin Bacon really had nothing to do with it till it was already popular. Then he was like, oh yeah, I was in that. That was me. The writers and director apparently went to school together. That's how they knew each other. The writers, S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock, wrote Short Circuit. They also wrote it with the director, who was Ron Underwood. He also wrote Short Circuit with them, but at the time, they're like, we can't have 3 names on this, so Ron Underwood, who's the director, backed out, and he's like, you guys just take it, we'll figure it out later on. And they ended up coming back to this, and all 3 of them agreed to do this. This is Ron Underwood's first movie as a director.
Okay.
So, like, this is his feature debut. This is a big deal for him, and frankly, I think he did great.
Yeah.
I think they did fantastic. They only had a $10 million budget, and I know that sounds like a lot, but the amount of physical stuff they have to do, the amount of, like, sets they have to build, the entire town, Perfection, is a set. The whole town's a set. They built the whole town.
Oh, wow.
They built the graboids. They built everything. It's all puppeteering and stuff like that. Like, there's not a lot of, like, CGI and stuff in this.
And
this is mostly practical.
So good.
Yeah. And looking at it, it's been 30 years. Yeah. Looking back at it, it holds up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of movies do not hold up 30 years later. It's almost unreasonable to ask for a movie to hold up for 30 years and look just as good. And it genuinely does. The sequels get a little garbage.
I think there's only one point in the very beginning of the movie that, like, you're looking at, like, dirt or something, and it's, like, shimmering weird. and I was like, that's a weird CGI, or a weird effect. I don't even know if it's CGI.
Okay.
But that's the only point in the movie that I was like, oh, that was weird.
Yeah, I think the only other CGI moment that, like, I always notice is Bert, in his rec room.
Uh-huh.
There's one shot where it's clearly like a green screen.
Yeah.
There's one that it looks like the Birds quality green screen. You're like, that's not right. That's not what life looks like. But that's it. I mean, everything else looks legit. And they even found great ways to show these things moving underground without it looking terrible.
Absolutely. They're some of my favorite shots.
Yeah, they did a great job, like, even from above ground, because most of this movie, you don't see them. Uh-huh. Or you see, like, their little tongues. You see the smaller portions. You don't get to see it, but they do show it enough that it's not a mystery what this is. They show you in detail. Once you start seeing them, it's pretty in detail, like, what this is. Like, it's this. It's right here. Here you go.
Yeah.
And I love that. And it has just enough explanation, but not too much. Like, I know that they speculate, like, well, maybe it's an alien and maybe it's a government thing. But you don't find out where this thing came from.
Yeah.
You never find out, and you don't fucking care.
No.
You don't need that information.
You don't know, and we're just happy they're not chasing them anymore.
Yeah. Like, you do not need that information. You just are like, cool, this is where we're at. Awesome.
And for me personally, you know this about me, that usually really bugs me in movies. They did this one well enough that it doesn't irritate me. It doesn't bug me. I can just suspend my disbelief and, like, I'm in.
Absolutely. Yeah, this movie is really good about letting you just, like, believe it. So before we get into, like, the details, I do want to talk about, they apparently they went to 3 different companies to get produced. They went to Fox first. They were denied at Fox. They went to Disney. They got denied by Disney. Disney had just put out Arachnophobia.
Okay.
So, like, they were putting those things out, and they were doing that kind of stuff. They passed as well, and then Universal said yes. So there's a lot to do with it in the background and, like, how this was made, and it was a lot of, like, deals being made in Hollywood and things like that. Nancy Roberts is a producer who had a lot to do with this. There are several, like, female producers that really helped each other out and got this moving. And then the 3 guys that wrote it really helped each other. Like, they didn't need to help each other like they did. Ron Underwood backed out of Short Circuit, and then those other 2 writers kept up with that and was like, all right, let's make this work for you. So they did, as a team, really build this and believe in it, which is so weird that, like, the thing that they put all their faith into was groundworms.
Really, groundworms.
really big groundworms.
That was their big kumbaya moment.
Yeah, like, it's such a strange, like, what if the floor was lava or it ate you?
Oh my gosh, that is... Last time you and I watched this movie together, when you said that, I thought I was going to pee myself. Because you're so correct. This is a movie of the floor is lava.
Yeah, like, I remember being, like, 3, because I watched this when I was, like, 3, and I remember being scared. Because this was always on Sci-Fi. It's still always on Sci-Fi. It's how Sci-Fi makes their money. But... they ended up having, like, it on all the time, and I watched it so many times, and I remember, like, just being on a swing set in my grandparents' backyard, and then suddenly remembering Tremors and being like, oh my god, I gotta get in the house.
Without touching the ground.
Just ran into the house as fast as I could. Like, it's such a silly thing, but, like, some people play The Floor is Lava. I played Tremors. Because I was a little psycho kid. That's a real thing.
Oh my gosh.
That's a real thing.
That's fucking funny.
So, I love this movie. This is a soft spot movie. This is one of my first movies. I was 3 when I was really into this movie. I have quite a few movies that I probably shouldn't have watched at 3 that I did.
Like, that sounds kind of young.
It's a little young, but, you know, they cut out 90% of the cussing. Apparently they were supposed to have a lot more F-bombs, and they decided to make it a PG-13 movie. So that's why the worst editing in this movie has nothing to do with the graboids and everything to do with people cussing. They left 1 F-bomb in there, and it is the perfect placed F-bomb.
Oh, absolutely.
It is the perfect, it's Kevin Bacon, and we'll get into it, says, fuck you, and everyone's like, yeah. Look, they changed things, instead of saying motherfuckers, there's like 2 more mother humpers, okay?
Oh, mother humpers, that's right, oh my god.
Mother humpers, they say bastard so many times that they didn't actually say bastard.
Oh my goodness.
The only time this movie falters with their editing is when they're cussing.
Mother humpers?
Yeah. He said, got the mother humper. He said, there are 2 more. I repeat, 2 more mother humpers.
There are 2 more mother humpers.
Alright, Val. That's cool. So, let's open up to the actual scene. The first scene...
Oh my god, the first scene.
The first scene is so 90s. It's a Western, but it's a comedy because someone's taking a piss. Immediately, someone's pissing. Just fuck it. Kevin Bacon's pissing. That's why you guys are here, right? Kevin Bacon's pissing. Hand us our money now.
Right?
So, Kevin Bacon plays Valentine, and his best friend and roommate and partner in crime and low-key lover is Earl.
You said low-key
They're not even that low-key about it. They're adorable.
Yeah, you know, we've talked about this, but I really feel like had this movie been made today...
Yeah, they're a couple.
They're a couple.
There's no reason for Val and Rhonda to get involved.
No.
Zero reason besides, like, well, she's a girl.
Yeah, I mean, the banter and the lighting
they're adorable.
Cigarettes and, hey, where'd I put that? It's here. They're adorable.
Let me tell you, better podcasts than us have covered this, and let me tell you, they have, and I thought it was just me that had that theory until I started hearing other good podcasts that have a hardcore following going, no, this is a thing. And I'm like, oh my god, I wasn't crazy.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, because I remember being like 8, like, they're adorable. They're snuggling, like... And every time, throughout the movie, if you rewatch it with that mentality, every time you see Rhonda and Val snuggling, immediately after, or flirting, or anything, it shoots to Earl. Every time.
And he's got a look on his face.
And he's got, like, go get him, tiger.
Yup.
It's so, like...
Even when Rhonda takes, like, a picture at one point, like, they put their arms around each other. Like, they're a couple.
They're a couple.
Like, this is Brokeback Mountain without, like, the parts.
Look, it's fine. They're not a couple, whatever. But we're in 2022, where it's common knowledge that, like, they're probably just a couple, and that's fine. But it was the 90s, so they were like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
nope.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
You were not getting away with that.
They're the masculine men they can't be.
Yeah,
Like,
they're the peeing in the wind, cowboy hat wearing. They can't be gay. Come on.
Yeah, wild. They are, but it's fine. We'll just lie about it with the rest of you. It's fine. Because, like, even Rhonda, they have nothing in common.
Nothing.
Nothing in common. It's so weird. So, Earl is Fred Ward. Val is Kevin Bacon. And they wake up and are so cute together. So he's peeing in the wind. He goes and wakes up Earl, who's sleeping in the bed of their pickup truck. And he jumps on the bed of the pickup truck and he screams, "Stampede!" Because everything he does is so southern. So, Val and Earl are handymen. They're hired hands. That's what they call themselves. They're hired hands. And they pretty much help the entire town of Perfection?
Perfection.
I keep wanting to call it, like, Prospect Town or some shit. I don't know why. But Perfection works, too. It's fun. It's ironic. You get it?
It's definitely ironic.
Because it's perfection. But it's not. There's, like, a 16-year-old with no parents anywhere.
Oh, my gosh.
Let's see. He's the runaway. He's probably got his own movie in there somewhere. We just don't know.
They say all the time, I can't wait to leave Perfection. We gotta get out of Perfection.
Yeah, we gotta get out of Perfection. Get it? It's ironic. So, they rock, paper, scissors for everything. Everything. So it's like, all right, rock, paper, scissors for who cooks us breakfast. And I'm like, oh, you guys are so cute. And so they're handyman, they're hired hands, they do all kinds of stuff for everybody in town. And Kevin Bacon cannot swing a fucking hammer to save his life.
Yeah, so their job is apparently to help out on farms. And not many people have stretched barbed wire and put it on a fence post. I personally have, and he ain't doing it right. Like,
well, first of all, 17 swings is too many.
Yeah, he has no idea how to even hold the hammer. It's like somebody didn't walk up to him and be like, "Hey, dude, grab here."
Someone built this fucking set. Could they give him 30 seconds?
Nope.
Jesus. So we're making a plan. Everything in life around here, we make a plan. So they get in the truck and they're getting ready to go back to town or wherever they're going. And then they talked about the new college kid that's doing the seismographs. And they're like, oh my God, I heard it was a girl. So Val literally goes off the road.
Literally.
To go find this girl. And he proceeds to describe his perfect woman, which is exactly everything Rhonda isn't.
Everything this woman is not.
Legs that don't quit. No, ass that never gives a leg.
Legs that go all the way up.
As opposed to most of the way down.
Long blonde hair, big green eyes.
Oh yeah, like he's got specifics. He plans to build a bitch. Like, this is not... He
is ordering one online.
Literally, he's custom making. So they meet Rhonda, and she is none of those things. She's got, like, suntan, what is it called? Lotion on her nose.
It's the zinc oxide that the lifeguards wear on their nose to stop it from burning. Yeah, it's good luck.
And she's like, hi guys, I'm looking at the rocks. Like, she's a nerd. She's a college nerd. And she brings up that, you know, does anybody know of any drilling or blasting or anything that's going to be going on? Because, like, she's got a couple weird readings. And they're like, not that we know of. And she's like, shit. I just got out here. We might be screwed. Like, all right, well, let me know if you hear anything. And they're like, all right.
She's like, I might have to bag the whole semester. Like, because if one of these is broken, I can't fix it.
Yep. So, that's a thing. So, they leave. Val's like, that's not my woman. And Earl's like, you have unrealistic expectations, honey. He doesn't say it, but God, we know it's there. So, look, am I wrong?
No.
He's literally like, you gotta lower your standards.
It's just a beard, dear. It doesn't need to be all that.
Like, right? Like, you gotta lower your standards. You're like, why? Because you live with Earl. That's why.
Because Earl's your roommate. Come on now.
Buddy, come on. It's like, really, it's weird. Unrealistic expectations there. So, they go into town where we meet everybody. By the way, Melvin's immediately a dick. So, Melvin is the 16-year-old kid that just fucking sucks.
He's just an asshole.
There's no arch to this kid. He just sucks, and then the movie ends. Like, he's awful. So the entire town consists of very, very few people. Everybody knows everybody. So there is Earl and Val. Rhonda's the new one. And then we have Bert and Heather, who are two like extremist doomsday prepper style people. They constantly have their guns on them. They think the government's out to get them a little bit. It's why they live out here, is because it's less, you know,
under the government's thumb.
Yeah, exactly.
They're off the grid, sort of.
They're semi off the grid. I mean, there's like 15 people in this town.
Yeah.
They're pretty much off the grid. There's Nestor, who's just a guy.
He's just a male.
He's just a guy in a trailer. There's Melvin, who's the douchebag kid, who's a 16-year-old who's got no parents. We don't know where the fuck.
Yeah, like,
he has a trailer.
I tried to figure out, like, is he, like, related to, like, Mindy and the mom?
I've tried to make that real, but they've never once insinuated it. There's nowhere to put it. You can say that, but it's not fucking true. Melvin's just there.
I'm glad you said that, because I was like, it's gotta be Mindy's brother, but
he's just
Mom
some
doesn't
kid.
seem to give a shit about
Well,
Melvin,
at some point it also shows they end up, like, pumping Melvin's septic tank or something.
Yes.
And Melvin's house is different from Mindy's. So, no. He doesn't live with them, at least. It's insinuated that he lives there on his own, but I don't know. I'm telling you, Melvin's got his own secret movie. Like,
yeah, because he's 16 at most.
Yeah, he's a kid. And trust me, he acts the most of a 16-year-old kid ever.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's as 16-year-old little douchebag as possible.
The things that you can think I dislike about teenagers, that's Melvin.
Yeah, you name it. He's a prankster. He's just a douche. All right, so then we have Nancy and Mindy. So Nancy's, as far as we know, a single mom, and she has Mindy, who's what? 8, 7?
8? Yeah.
And Mindy, I don't care about anybody else in this cast. Mindy is played by the same girl. Her name's Ariana Richards, who was in Jurassic Park.
Yep.
And I loved her, and I don't know her history or whatever, but I'm very bummed that she did not stay in acting.
Yes.
I don't know what her deal is, but I don't know.
Because even in this movie, she has very few lines, but she's great.
She was just a great little actress, and if you watch Jurassic Park, she's exceptional in it. So I really liked her. I think she did really good.
Just the fact that she can pull that pogo stick off alone. Like,
I don't know, that might be a stunt double.
I'm telling you, but I was a kid and we had pogo sticks and I could never do that.
No, nobody could do that.
Well, she was up to like 600 and some.
Yeah,
so.
it was weird. That's all Mindy does, by the way. She pogos her life around. Look at this town. There's nothing else to do. So, we've got Nancy and Mindy.
There you go.
I don't know who Nandy and Mindy is. But
I don't either.
It's fine. Miguel. Mm-hmm. Walter Chang, who is the owner of the hard goods store, like the little shop they keep going to. I'm going to keep referencing. They go back to the store or the shop. And Walter's the owner of it. And he's an older guy. And he, as far as... Everyone's kind of like by themselves.
Yeah.
Like Walter's by himself. Miguel's by himself. Nestor's by himself. Everybody's kind of by himself. So then we have Jim and Megan, who I didn't know her name was Megan until I Googled it. Jim's the doctor. Megan is the doctor's wife. They have one of the coolest scenes in the movie. Then we have Edgar, Old Fred, and then there's like a couple of road workers. That's everyone.
Yeah.
We never see Edgar alive, to put it in perspective. So this is a very, very small town.
Yeah.
That's everybody. They meet Walter, Bert, Heather, everybody at the store. This freezer kicks up and makes some noise, and we're going to put that in our back pocket because it matters later. And then it kind of shoots over to Rhonda, who's trying to work on these seismographs, and we kind of get our first cool, creepy shot. It's a very low-to-the-ground shot, and it's kind of like coming up at her. And it, like, just misses as she gets in the truck and drives away. Which, once you watch it on a second and third watch, doesn't actually make that much sense. Because it grabs cars very immediately. Like, why didn't it just grab her truck?
And when I was watching it this past time, I was like, how is she not, like, seeing that stuff's moving around her or hearing it or anything? It's like she was just completely oblivious.
See, I think that's totally doable.
Okay.
I don't think you need to hear it or see it. I think we see that later on at the road workers. Like, it can be right under you. It knows when to go fast and when not to. It's a hunting
And I agree with that. Like, with the road workers, you can tell, like, it was almost lying in wait. But with this shot, it showed it, like, going after her almost or searching for her a little bit. So I was just like, how is nobody noticing that?
I just thought it was moving, and I was like, this is very realistic. You don't see it till it's too late.
Yeah.
You don't see it till it's attacking. That's how I took it. So I was like, oh, it was just creeping up. Because if you look at, we'll get into it later on, but if you look at, like, the doctor and stuff, you don't see it coming till he drops.
Yeah. That's
when you first know.
Yeah.
As we, like, the camera starts showing it more, then it's like, okay, you see what I look like, I'll just show you now. The first half hour of the movie's not when I get involved. Like, we didn't have the budget.
I've been found out now.
Yeah, literally. So, we kind of have a first, like, something's coming after us, and we don't really know what it is. If you went into this movie blind, it does not insinuate it's a ground worm monster immediately. You're like, okay, wild wolf. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something. It's very Evil Dead camera style, but you don't know. I don't know. Could be anything. So, she gets in the truck and leaves. She's fine. It shows Earl driving the cat, which is another foreshadowing, just because we're going to need that. We're going to need that bad boy later.
Yes, we are.
And they're just talking again, and we should get out, and we should have a plan, and the reason they're doing this is they don't have money. And Earl's planning ahead about when they're going to need money. And Val's like, we should leave now. And Earl's like, absolutely not. We need the money. I'm planning for tomorrow. You're stuck in today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, okay, Earl, we get it. This is a beautiful couple arguing about what they plan on doing with their lives next.
They're balancing each other out well. One's a planner, one's not.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I'm telling you, man. And my thing is, too, like, Val, you could leave without Earl. Like, it's not even an option. Which is a very couple thing to do.
It's not. It's clearly not an option for one of them to leave without the other.
Yeah, like, they go together everywhere.
Everywhere.
Which I back.
Then just
be a couple.
Hold his hand.
Yeah, Jesus. So, they're like, forget it, we're going. They end up messing with Melvin's septic tank, and they're still arguing about leaving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And the septic tank bursts, and they get coated in literal shit.
Yep.
And then the next scene is them packing up to leave. They're like, yep, that's it. You're right. I'm done.
We're done. Time to get out of perfection.
Yeah, they're leaving perfection. They're going to Bixby.
Yep.
Going to Bixby. You're going to hear that so many times. There's 57,000 ways to try and get to Bixby. They go through every one of them. Like, at one point, Nancy literally is like, yo, I need you guys' help. I'll pay you. It's a month of work. I'll even throw in beer. And they say no. These manly of men say no to free beer, which is just a job. They're paying you in beer, but it's not free. But they say no. They're really going. They're really starting to leave. And as they're driving out of town, they look up and they see some guy on the electric tower, like the. Right, that's what it's called.
Radio tower, antenna.
Yeah.
I can't think of the word.
It's not an antenna.
God.
It is like electrical. Looks like electrical wires attached to it. But so one of the big pillars. So he's sitting up there with his gun.
It looks like when you first see him, he's just chilling.
Yeah, he's taking a nap, and they're like, "Oh, that's Edgar. I know that's Edgar. I've seen his. He's only wearing that jacket. He's always wearing that jacket." Mm-hmm. And so they're like, "All right, that's Edgar. Who's going to get him? We got to go fucking get him. We can't just leave him there."
Right.
So, Kevin Bacon loses the bet, and he has to, or not lose the bet, loses the rock, paper, scissors, and has to go up. And he goes up. And by the way, I'm going to just stop it now. Why is Edgar so fucking high up?
And wait, not just that, but like, how's he plan on getting him down?
Well, I think his plan, because he does not know Edgar's dead at this point. Spoiler alert, Edgar's dead. I know, mind-blowing moment in your life. But Edgar's dead. But, like, I feel like he was thinking, oh, I'll just wake him up. Maybe he's drunk and passed out.
I guess, but, like, even... Look, if someone's drunk that high up and I gotta wake them up, I'm, like, strapping them into something first. Because I don't want to startle them.
Well, he didn't get that far because he got to his feet and realized he was dead.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I can argue that. But, like, Edgar, why the fuck are you 40 feet in the air? Like, why are you so high up? Like, we know what he was running from. In hindsight, we know what it is. Why the fuck is he so high up there?
Maybe he didn't know, like, how big it was.
I don't know, and I don't care. That was too high in the air. Fuck you.
Oh, you don't do heights.
I don't do... Scariest part of this movie was watching Kevin Bacon get to Edgar. I had anxiety. I didn't like it. It's not having a good time.
Oh my goodness.
So Edgar's dead, and they're like, what the fuck? So they call the doctor, they get him down. They never show how they do that, by the way, because
he's just down.
Well, they don't want to casually bring up the fact that they just dropped that corpse, but
I'm thinking they just pushed.
They just pushed. They just pushed. That's all that happened to Edgar. It's not like he cares now.
They could have.
I guess a crane, but like they don't have that equipment.
They don't have that. So
they literally don't show it for a reason, because we all know they pushed Edgar. It's okay. Edgar doesn't care anymore. So the doctor says, it wasn't a heart attack or anything. He died of dehydration.
Yeah.
He
died of being thirsty.
Yep, he died of being thirsty. So they're like, well, doesn't that take a while? He's like, yeah, it could take, 3 or 4 days. And, in the desert, like, it takes days. And, the guy had a gun with him, so they're like, what the fuck? So we actually cut over right after that and see another guy, Farmer Fred, which I love how, like, it's Edgar and Fred. Of course it is. Like, of course it's fucking Edgar and Fred. They don't have original names. It's Edgar and Fred. So we see Farmer Fred, who's credited as Old Fred. He's got a bunch of sheep, and he's hoeing. And was that not the word choice?
Sorry.
We're adults.
He's tending the garden.
He's literally out hoeing. Farmer Fred's out hoeing, and I won't take it back. He's got sheep in a pen, and they're being fucking weird. They're like doing little sheep crop circles. And you see him looking at them like, what the fuck? But he's doing his little hoeing. He's doing his hoeing dance.
But he's hoeing.
Like,
he needs a minute.
So yeah, he's busy. So he looks up, and he gets pulled. You just see him something grabs him, and he goes down. And you don't see what it is. You just see his face. You hear him scream.
Yep.
So the sheep were alive at that point.
Okay.
So we're cutting over to Rhonda, who's getting a reading, and she's looking at her shit, and she's like, that's weird. There's weird things happening.
There's strange
It's
things.
just so you don't forget Rhonda's here. Rhonda's here.
And, like,
reading.
I'm saying that very sarcastically. Like, the scientific equipment she's using, it's just this big barrel of paper with this needle on it. Like, and it's not like, part of it's buried in the ground, but it's not, like, hooked into
Fairly
anything.
certain it's just a ground polygraph test.
That's literally what it looks like.
Like
Is
the desert,
ground lying.
the desert's lying to you. That's what it looks like.
That's literally what it looks like.
There is no generator. There is nothing else.
It's just this little tiny, almost steel, like, drum thing. Not even drum. It's smaller than that. That's in the ground that she puts 4 shovels of dirt on. And, like, now we know.
Yeah, it's banking on you knowing 0 things about actual science, especially seismographs. Like, we're not doing this. We're not fucking around with this shit. And also, why were they always just college? There's always just one college kid that's chronically studying this desert.
Yeah, I don't know.
This small-ass town must have a lot of earthquakes. Like, what the fuck?
Because they say we've had this equipment up here for years, and we've never had readings like this.
Well, thank fucking God they did. They found the one spot with fucking graboids.
But, bitch, why have you had shit up here for years?
It makes no sense.
Why?
Alright, so Earl and Val decide to go back to town because they found, a corpse. And they pass the road workers, and they stop and see Fred's farm. And it's all fucked up.
All fucked up.
It's mutilated. The sheep are all dead. You can see, like, chunks o' sheep.
Yep.
So they stop, and they're, like, calling for Fred, and they're looking around for him. They can't find him anywhere. And they see a hat on the floor, and they're like, I can't believe, Fred's missing. Wonder what happened to all of his sheep. What, could have done that. And they lift up the hat, and right under it's Fred's face in the scariest damn facial expression possible.
Yes. And it's just his face. Like, you can't even tell whether it's attached to anything. I think they say, like, it's
he cut off heads,
yeah. But, like, it's just, it looks like they, you bury somebody in sand, and then you just leave enough room for their face. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. They obviously get freaked out. They run back in the car. They drive past the workers and stop, and they're like, yo, there's a crazy guy on the loose. He's killing people.
Yeah, there's a serial killer out here.
Yeah, he's cutting heads off. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, get out. And they're really upset, and the workers think that they're messing with them, so they just go right back to work.
I think the one worker's like, oh, they're pulling our chain, and just goes back to jackhammering.
Yep. They start jackhammering. One guy's jackhammering. Like, the third shot in, the jackhammer pierces what we now know is one of the graboids. And this bright orange pumpkin-looking stuff shoots up. You can hear it yell, and it takes the jackhammer that's in its body, and it takes off.
And the jackhammer's still going.
The jackhammer's still going. The jackhammer's straight up in the air. The cord's wrapped around the worker who was just working on its leg, so he goes with it, and it goes up a hill and causes a rock slide. The rock slide kills the other worker, so we think. It shows rocks go toward a worker, and we're going to safely assume.
Yeah.
Later on, we do see a hard hat with blood in it, so we know he's dead. I don't know if the graboid got him or if the rock slide killed him. Either way, it didn't go great for that guy.
Yeah, they had a bad day at work.
Yeah, both of them had a bad day at work.
Yeah.
And I don't know if insurance is going to cover it.
Yeah, I don't think workman's comp's going to do them much good.
No. So they go back to town. Then they plan to go to Bixby. They're like, all right, the plan is we're going to go to Bixby. We're going to get the cops. So Earl and Val go toward where they just were. And now they just found the workers, and the workers are dead. Great. And there's a rock slide with the road on the way in. And I guess there's no way around it. It shows one side, and it's the rock slide side. So it doesn't show the other side where it's, like, clear.
Yeah.
It could be just totally clear, but we're assuming there's no way around it.
At one point earlier in the movie, they're on this big dirt road, and I think it's Val's like, we're on the freeway. So, like, that gives me the impression this is one of those one-way in, one-way out towns.
Yeah, and they do mention several times that there are mountains surrounding this town.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons Bert and Heather like it. And it's one of the reasons that it ends up being so difficult. So, they see the bloody hard hat, and they're like, let's get out here. They nope out so fast.
Yep.
It's fantastic. This is survival in horror. You see some fucked up shit, you don't go looking to see if they're okay. They're not okay.
Yeah, they're not okay.
Goodbye.
It's just time to go.
So he backs up into where the rock slide is, and he gets caught on something. And Earl's like, "You're caught," and Val's like, "No, I'm not." And they just live to bicker.
They're like an old married couple.
They're worse than an old married couple. They're two straight men who are constantly living together and trying to out-masculine each other.
Oh, that is a really, really good point.
Yeah, they're just always bickering. They're always the right one.
Bigger, yeah.
Yeah, they're always the correct one. No matter which one it is, they're right. No matter what's happening, either. So, they get caught. They finally get uncaught. They pull and pop off, and they were able to go. I love in the car on the way back to town, Earl immediately grabs a gun.
Yep.
He has a gun in the glove box. He grabs it. He loads it up. They don't even make a big scene out of it because everybody in this movie is not here to fuck around.
Yeah.
Everybody does what it takes to survive. I love this movie for that. I think this movie is a really great example of what happens when you do everything right and things still go wrong. Like, this town, like, almost everyone in this town contributes in some way. No one's just there to be a picked-off character. I mean, the road workers kind of are, and Edgar clearly is, because he never had a blink, let alone a line. But, like, for the most part...
And Melvin's kind of shit and doesn't really help a whole lot.
But he's somebody that you think there will either be an arch with, or, like, a moment, or he's gonna die.
Yeah, nope.
Like, he's the character in most horror movies that at the last minute he becomes a hero and he gets killed for it, but it was his redeeming moment.
He's like the red shirt guy in Star Trek. You know what I'm saying right now?
I know exactly what you're saying, I just don't agree with you at all.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying
who I thought was going to die from the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, you want him to die from the beginning?
Yes.
No, but I mean, I'm saying he's got, like, the character arch.
Yeah.
He has, you expect him to have a character arc.
Yes.
And he doesn't.
No.
He's just a douchebag from beginning to end. It's fine. So, they get back to the store, and they look at the end of their truck, and one of the graboids' tongues is attached. And we know this because we've seen Tremors before. But, as far as the townspeople know, they think that's what's getting people. Uh-huh. It's big. I mean, it's a large thing.
Big enough.
And they think that's the whole graboid. And they have not named it yet. I'm calling them graboids because I know better and I respect Walter Chang. But Walter immediately buys it. He offers them $5 for it. They haggle over it, and it ends up being worth $15. It's part of that, like, go back and forth between horror and humor.
Yep.
Like, here's this terrifying thing at the ass end of their car that tried to grab them, and Walter's like, $5.
I want it.
And I think at one point Nancy's like, what's wrong with you people? So, Walter buys it immediately, and then we proceed to cut over to the doctor and his wife. It's nighttime now. They're, looks like they're setting up, like, the parameters for their house. I'm assuming it's gonna be a trailer, because they're like, the cinder blocks came.
Yeah.
So I'm just assuming they're, like, relocating their trailer or something. They have a trailer there. It never explicitly says what they're actually doing.
Yeah, like, are they building and the cinder blocks are just the foundation? Like, it doesn't tell us.
It doesn't tell you. And frankly, it doesn't matter that much. Like,
exactly.
It's truly in the middle of nowhere, and I don't understand why they pick that location specific. I don't get it. You do you, boo-boo. I don't care. That's fine. But they do have to have a generator. Like, they are not clearly set up to be there permanently already. And the generator goes into the ground. It goes out, and the doctor goes over to reset it, and he's like, it's gone. And it is, and the cord has been pulled into the ground, so we know where it went. It went in the ground. And they start coming up with ideas like, maybe it's a sinkhole, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. They don't have a lot of time to really think about it before it comes flying up out of the ground. Which is way fucking worse.
Yeah.
So, the wife immediately wants to leave. She's like, Jim, let's go. I love her. She's not here to fuck around. He's like, well, it could be a geyser. It could be this. And then eventually, she's like, I don't care. Let's go. I don't like this.
Big commercial with the woman yelling, start the car.
Yeah,
like she's done.
So, the wife wants to leave. Jim is a little more hesitant, but he does eventually start walking with her, and he gets grabbed. So, as soon as he gets grabbed, I'm like, leave him. Like, he wanted to stay, now he can stay. And he's screaming, and she's smart. She starts grabbing him, but once she realizes she can't just pull him up, she immediately grabs a 2x4 and gives it to him.
Yep.
And you're like, that's brilliant. and it snaps in half like a twig. So these things are clearly strong, right? And he gets pulled in, and she starts kind of like digging for him, and immediately after, one of the tongues come up.
Yep.
So she's like, nope, bye, Jim. She leaves Jim so fucking fast.
It's been real.
Yeah. Yeah, well, in all fairness, what do you do? Like, you're underground. Like, I can't help you. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Like, there's no saving you, and I'm scared.
I will warn you later.
Yeah, I'm leaving. You better leave. If I get pulled, you leave.
Ditto.
That's the rules. So she jumps in the car. And as she jumps in the car, she jumps in the trunk first. She hits the radio. She shuts the trunk. The radio's playing music, and it's like, it gives me so much more anxiety that there's music playing. Like, turn off the radio! Because I'm crazy, and like...
And you've seen this movie before.
Well, even if I hadn't, my brain, as soon as like something weird's happening, I turn off every noise.
You do, so you can see better?
Yeah.
I know.
I turn the radio down so I can find where I'm going. Like, that's the rules. And in this movie, it's all by noise, so really, I would live.
You would do great.
I mean, they quickly learn, but I digress. So she jumps in the car, she hits the radio on accident, and she proceeds to lock all the doors. She's doing all the right things. She holds very still, and then it bumps the car, and then it bumps the car again, and the car really starts moving. And she starts screaming, she starts beeping the horn, she accidentally turns on the lights, she looks for the keys, and they're not there, so she's fucked. Which is sad, because I like her. And then we get one of the really cool shots in this movie where it shows over the hill, like from a distance, it just shows the headlights going up in the air.
Yep.
And then it shows one go out and then the other one go out.
Yes.
And you're like, well, fuck.
That just got swallowed or something.
That's not good. So that's gone. That's a brilliant shot. I absolutely love it. So at the, back at the store with the rest of the town.
At Chang's.
Yep. Val and Earl are trying to make another plan. Because make a plan. They tried the phone. It's not working. The radio's not getting through because the radio can't get through to past the mountains. So they can talk to the other people in the town, but they can't talk to anyone else outside the town because of the mountains. It blocks transmission. So the new plan is Val and Earl are going to take the horses. Chang has horses, and we're going to take them to Bixby. We're going to ride to Bixby.
We're going to get help.
We're going to be faster than everything, and we'll use the horses and do the horse trails. And the new plan now is those two are going to go look for the doctor and give them a warning, and then immediately go to get help. And Bert and Heather are going to go for Rhonda and see if she needs help, see if they can help her. Because as far as they know, those are the only other people outside of the town that doesn't know about this. Yep. Which I love, because they do split up, which usually isn't great, but they pair up.
Yeah.
And they pair up within the town as the most capable groups.
Yeah.
Bert and Heather and Val and Earl are the two most capable duos in this town. Like, Bert and Heather do not need anyone, and Val and Earl have been relatively on their own. So, like, it's smart.
Everybody's got a plan, everybody's got an idea, there isn't anybody floundering.
Yeah, and everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing and where they're supposed to be, yes. And they know where everyone else is. There is no lack of communication in this town.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's like, here's the fucking plan, okay? You do this, you do this, you do this. The rest of us are staying at the store. They're very smart. Love that. So they go to the doc's place, they being Val and Earl. They can hear the music, and they're like, where the fuck are these people? The car's not here, so they must have left, but where's that music coming from? Oh, they left, all right. Oh, they left. They literally, dig up, I guess, the front of the car.
Yeah.
And they can see the car, and they're like, oh, shit, these things can bring a whole car down.
Yep.
That's fucking bad.
They are stronger than we thought.
They're powerful. We got to get going. Again, remember, they think it's just the tongue. They think that, 6, 7, 8 foot thing is everything. It's not. It's not. So, they're riding like hell. They even say it out loud. New plan, ride like hell.
Yep. They're constantly going, okay, new plan. New plan.
Which I love.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things. I love it. I love it so much. So, they're riding like hell. And as they're riding like hell, the horses pick up a scent they do not like. Something spooks them. So they're both kind of kicking around being weird, right? Well, one of the things, graboids, gets a hold of Earl's horse. So Earl's horse drops, and they're trying to, shoot it, do something. They don't know quite what to do. And I think Val shoots it, and the tongue goes in,
Yep.
And then we get the first shot of the full graboid. So it
Yep.
comes out of the ground at them.
And it looks like an orca coming up.
It really
I
does.
Thinking that, like, holy shit, that looks like an orca. Like,
Or a land shark, if you will.
Or a land shark.
Could be a land shark.
Shut up.
Looks very similar to a land shark. Sorry. So they run because what else are you gonna do? We don't have horses now. They book it, and this thing is gaining on them. It's fucking fast. So they run until they get to, what is that wall?
Oh God.
So it's not a dam.
It's like, it's not a quarry wall either. I can't. My brain.
Reservoir wall? No.
Yeah, it's like a retaining wall.
They run into a wall. They run into this weird, I don't know what it is, but it's a underground, like a retaining wall.
It's like a retaining wall.
In the middle of the desert. Cool. Fine by me. I don't care. So they jump and they don't make it. But this thing chases them and kills itself, hitting the wall, hitting the concrete wall. It was not ready for a rock.
No, it was prepared for dirt, and it was not dirt.
Yeah, it was the loose soil, and then it was not the loose soil. So it runs in the wall, it kills itself. And then we get the best line in the movie. We get Val going, "Fuck you!" And that's arguably one of the best fuck yous of all time.
Yes, because they think that's it. Like,
yeah, they're like, they got
there's
it.
more.
They win. So 14 seconds later, not even, Rhonda's like, "Hey guys, what's up?" She just so happens to be there. Thank God, timing. So she's like, what is that? So it shows them, digging it up, and Val finds the ass end. And because he's so delicate.
Hey guys, I found its ass end.
He literally says, "I found the ass end." And he's just got some really highbrow one-liners in this, doesn't he? Like, he really does. So...
And Rhonda's like this scientist, so they keep expecting her to have...
Yeah.
Like, these answers, and she's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, so they're looking at this thing, they're like, "This is weird." And she's looking, and she's like, "This is how it moves so fast. Look at these little nubs on it." It's literally nubby. It's got little nubby legs, and that's how it runs. It looks like a giant worm with nubby legs.
With nubby legs.
It's
and
nubby.
She talks like, oh, they all push at the same time. That's why, and she speculates, is it prehistoric or all of that crap, and I don't think we ever... No, we don't. We don't ever find any of that out. Which
No,
is
we never...
Great.
We never find out, like, where it's actually from.
Right? Like, did an alien drop it off? We don't know.
Yeah. So, we start, talking about that, and then it's like a light bulb kicks off, and Rhonda's like, "Oh, fuck." And they're like, "What?" She goes, "There's 3 more of these things. Look." And pulls up her wonderful lie detector seismograph. And... So she's like, "There's one at this time and one at this time." And they're like, all right, we fucking believe you. That's fine. So as this happens, they're like, "Let's get your shit. Let's get to the truck. Let's go." And she's like, "All right, my truck's over here." So Earl fell into a prairie dog hole for a second and panics.
That was funny.
I love it because he instantly screams.
Yeah.
He's, "Ah!" And, "Oh, okay."
It's a prairie dog burrow.
Damn prairie dog burrow. And I'm pretty sure Val says something like, "You bastard." like they were just as upset. They're so traumatized. Well, they end up, another one pops up, and they end up getting chased, and they end up on these big residual boulder. It's a giant rock. And they look, and the tongues come up, and one of them's missing. And they're like, "Oh, it's our buddy Stumpy." So, his name's Stumpy now, and you can't make me forget.
Nope, his name's Stumpy.
Never forget Stumpy. So, they're sitting on the rock, and this is where they start bringing up, like, where to come from. Is it an alien? Is it a dinosaur? Is it... What the fuck? Why do we not know about these? Why have we never seen them till now? And frankly, their conclusion is,
Yeah, I mean, she even talks about, like, there's nothing in the fossil history like them. So they have no idea.
No idea, and that's fine. We don't need that.
Nope.
I think as you go into the series, I think they try and give you answers. But, like, we don't need them. I'm cool with it. I'm good.
Yeah, I've never seen anything other than the first Tremors. So I'll have to eventually catch.
We'll have to get you in there. Yeah. I mean, they evolve. It ends up being fun. But anyway, so the next morning, they start really thinking about it. And they're like, all right, I think they listen. Like, I think they hear you. Because they spent the first day on there, hours later, it's waiting.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's how...
They, like, test it with something, right?
Yeah, so they like, hit the ground with, like, a stick or something, and it comes up and grabs it hours later, and they're like, shit, it's listening. And that's probably why Edgar never got down. It's because they wait.
They talked about the fact that, like, you can't see, it doesn't have eyes, so it's gotta be hearing or feeling or whatever.
So, they spend the night there. The next morning, they're trying to figure out what to do, and the boys are bickering, because it's what they live to do, and Rhonda's like, I got a plan. Hey, guys, I got a plan.
Right.
And they're so busy arguing, they don't hear it. But one of my favorite lines from this little argument is Earl and his fucking plans. Val goes, let's make a run for it. And Earl goes, running's what you do when a plan fails. And it's like, yeah, he's right.
He's right.
But everything about this movie is like the master of have a plan.
Yes.
Like, this should be at corporate meetings, like, how to have a plan.
Yep.
Because this is it. This is how you do it. And she shows up with these, I guess it's like leftover construction equipment. And I don't know why it's there. Because
it almost looks like bamboo sticks.
No, they're metal.
Like, they're awfully bendy to be metal.
No, they're not. They're solid metal poles.
Are they?
That are like 12 feet long.
Yeah, they're really long.
They're very long metal poles. Yeah, they're metal poles with like a hollow inside.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so they for some reason they're leaning against a rock because plot convenience. So, Rhonda grabs one of these metal poles that are conveniently placed for plot line.
Of course.
And she's like, you guys know how to pole vault? And she pole vaults. And they pole vault pretty much to the truck. And she's parked right next to a truck. Or right next to a truck. She's parked right next to a boulder. And it's a cool scene. It's a cool little, like, you get cool shots out of it. It's pretty. It's funny. It's like, oh, this is what we're going to do. It's like a really dopey kind of thing. But it's cool. So they get to the truck and then decide, all right, on the count of 3, we're going to jump in. And then we're gonna go because this motherfucker's going to pull at it. So they do that. Rhonda jumps in through the back window and drives with her hands the best way ever. She stays on that damn road, doesn't she?
Yes, she does.
She stays right on that road.
Best hand driving we've ever seen.
Best hand driving ever. So back at the shop, they meet up. They start telling everybody what's been going on. They can't find Bert and Heather. They don't know where they are. They haven't heard from them. There's another shot that's back at the rock slide, and it's 2 more people. Like, people have tried to come out, and they clearly got out of the truck at the rock slide, and clearly were also pulled by the graboid. So now we've got 2 more people on that body count that we never see on camera, but they're dead. I don't think the town ever finds that out, but, like, it's just showing that it's racking up points, man. Yeah. It's really just going through people. Walter decides on a name. He decides to call them graboids, and he keeps saying, don't be sorry. You're going to be sorry if we don't give it a name.
Yep.
We're going to be sorry, and for any Tremors fan, you are sorry when people don't know it's a graboid, and they only know that it's a tremor. It's not a tremor. Tremors are what you're measuring. It's a graboid.
Get it together, people.
Yeah, God, peasants.
Shut up.
So, Walter says it's a graboid, and we all agree, because Walter's right. We love Walter. He's cool.
We do like Walter.
Melvin is outside, and he screams and throws the basketball in and scares Earl. And it's funny, because Earl yells. Yeah, every time Earl's like, ah!
Calls him a little bastard.
He said, I'm going to shove this basketball up your ass. Yeah, so, like, they're talking, and they're like, look, dude, we got to get out of here. Like, they're coming toward us. They look at a map, and they're like, there's literally a line of where they're headed, and it's toward the town. It's toward the shop. It's toward where the rest of us are. Like, we cannot stay here. And as this is happening, Melvin is bouncing a basketball. And it's bounce, and the graboid ate it. So he climbs up a pole. So everyone inside hears him scream, and they think he's fucking around again because he did it 18 seconds ago.
Literally.
And it's officially the boy who cried wolf. They run out to kick his ass, and he's on the pole, terrified.
Yeah, and his, like, pants are ripped. You can see that he's got, like, a skin knee. Like, he's clearly been through something.
Yeah, like, he's up there, and he's petrified.
Yeah.
So the graboid comes up, and it comes up between everybody.
Yep.
Like, it just comes out of the ground fully. Again, orca. Or land shark.
It looks like an orca.
Or land shark.
Okay.
So it pops up from underground, and just everybody kind of spreads out, pretty much. So they all run into the store. They try to get away from this thing. Melvin gets into the store. Or does he get... No, he doesn't get in the store.
He
gets into, like, a shed next to the store. He doesn't get in the store. But everybody else is in the store. And then they hear the pogo stick. Oh, and they're like, fuck, this toddler's gonna die. So the pogo stick's going, and Minnie's got headphones on, so she can't hear anybody.
Oh, I know. This part of the movie gave me so much anxiety.
It's a post-toe.
Oh my, it worked. So much anxiety.
Yeah, so Val goes tearing out of the store to try and get to her in time, and he runs all the way to her because they can see the ground moving. They can see where it's going. He goes and he pretty much tackles her.
Well, like, I don't know. Can we back up for like 2 seconds? Why is she pogo sticking by herself in the middle of all of this anyway? Like, what?
Because there's 14 people in this town, there's normally not a problem. And they think they're safe. As of right now, they think they're not there yet. They keep talking about how they're gonna be there.
I hear you, but if I know something big and bad is coming...
And I don't know if Nancy's in the store.
You know what? I don't remember seeing her be there when,
No, I remember Nestor and Miguel. But I don't remember.
Why wouldn't somebody go tell Nancy?
I don't know. They're still coming up with a plan when this happens. So it is in the middle of their... They usually make a plan. That probably would have been part of it, but they hadn't had time. So Val runs. Val tackles Mindy just in time. The pogo stick defies gravity.
Yes.
It just stays straight up. If anyone's ever used a pogo stick or, a stick, they don't do that. So, okay. They get her, and... It defies gravity, it gets sucked in by the graboid, and then when they go to, get away, it ends up shooting it up behind them.
Yep.
So this is when all hell breaks loose.
Yep.
Because as this is happening, Rhonda and everybody else is trying to get away from these things, but also trying to make sure Mindy's okay. They get Mindy and Nancy into their house, and they start running back. Well, a second graboid shows up. So... Rhonda runs, and as she's running, one of the graboids literally come up from under her. She tripped over barbed wire, and she was laying down, and she was trying to get out of the barbed wire, and then one comes up, and she literally rolls further into the barbed wire.
Oh my gosh.
It sucks. She's not happy.
And, I'm blaming, and I know this is not actually related, but I'm blaming Kevin Bacon for this because he can't nail barbed wire in straight. I feel like
I don't think he was doing this one. Or
I know, but, I'm still blaming him.
That's good. I'm cool with it. Someone comes into play with a pickaxe and pops it in the head with it. I think that was Val. And earlier in the movie, Nestor ends up saying, they come at me, I'm just going to hit him with a 5-pound pickaxe. Well, they do, and it tickles them. So it gets its attention just long enough. They take her pants off and her shoes off and book it into the store.
Yep.
So they finally get in the store. They kind of settle down for a second. They're all being very quiet now. Nobody wants to make noise. So that's a factor. They're kind of keeping it quiet.
And now we have, of course, as necessary in the 90s, a half-naked woman. But they did a very good job of not, making that the focus.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary that she took her pants off. But, it's fine.
And they give her new pants right away.
They really do. Miguel just shows up and was like, hey, here's some pants.
Right. Here's pants and shoes.
Here's pants and shoes. You're going to need these. We're in the middle of a horror movie. So currently, the way it sits, they don't know where Bert and Heather are. Nancy and Mindy are in their house. I think Nestor's in his house. Yep, Nestor's in his house.
In his house.
What's his name?
Melvin's
in the shed. And everybody else is in the store.
Yes.
So everybody's whispering. Everyone's like, all right, we'll just be quiet. That'll be fine. So they're trying to come up with a plan. They're trying to figure out what the next move is. And the freezer goes off. That loud-ass freezer from the beginning of the movie.
Oh, my God,
I told you to put a pin in it because here it is now. It becomes the world's loudest freezer. And they're like, fuck, turn it off. Uh-huh. So they're desperately moving all these soda cans and stuff like that. And they rip the plug out of the wall. Well, they don't.
Bacon, tries to tackle it and lay on top of it.
He's doing his best. He's just not real smart. You saw him with a hammer. This happens. They finally get it unplugged. Just as they get it unplugged, they're like, all right, we're good. A graboid comes through the floor of the store and grabs Walter Chang. And it's sad. It's so sad. This is the first time the characters actually see someone get grabbed.
Yep.
We've, as the audience, have seen it, but the characters have not.
And this is the first one I really cared about.
And I was just about to say, and this is the first character you actually are attached to. The doctor was an extra. Everybody else was literally barely on screen, if at all. There's 2 of them that are called road workers. They didn't, quote-unquote, matter, but Walter Chang has been a character this whole time.
Yep.
So Walter Chang, it's a bummer that he dies, and he dies very similar to, in Jaws. Like how they grab him and then they shake him back and
and
forth,
shake him,
and it's a big thing. It's a very similar view, and it's really scary because they are trying to grab him, they are trying to get him, and they're like, "Fuck, the floor's not safe." Like, we thought we were good, we were inside.
We were okay in a building,
and we're not. We're not.
And
okay.
like, just I don't know, objectively, I don't know why the fuck they thought they were okay in a building.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
what?
I guess because they were off the soil. So now we know that buildings aren't safe, and now they know they can get through buildings. Val immediately looks at the roof and goes, all right, let's get to the roof. Mm-hmm. We have Miguel, we have Earl, and we have Val trying to get to the roof, and Rhonda had to get on a shelf and, like, hop from shelf to shelf, the white shelves, in order to, get to that spot. As she goes to try and jump on the roof, or jump on the ladder to get to the roof, I should say, the creatures push the first shelf and it domino effects, and instead of her jumping toward Val, she jumps accidentally, she falls really out the window.
Yeah.
So Val panics, gets to the roof and screams, don't stop moving, get up, run.
Get up, yeah.
And he looks over the end and he can't see her. And he's like, shit, she's dead. Well, she's actually in the water tower right next to him. She's fine. She's now separated from them, but okay.
Yeah.
Which, it could be worse.
Yeah.
Right? It could be worse. So she's over there now. We have Melvin on the shed. Melvin sees that all this is happening. He gets on the shed too. And then we have everybody else getting on their roofs.
Yeah.
So Nestor gets on his. Mindy and Cindy? Cindy and Nancy.
Nancy. I'm like, who the hell's Cindy?
Nancy and... So Nancy and Mindy end up on their roof. Everybody's on their roof. Everyone's safe for right now. We end up shooting back to Bert and Heather. They just get back to their place. They can't find anyone. They don't know how to get out. Heather gets out of the truck and looks with her binoculars, and she's like, everybody's on the roof. Like, that's weird. We should call over there. So they go inside. They go into their basement, which is like their rec room. Bert gets on the radio, and he's like, come on in. Over and over and over and over and over again. But he's calling on the radio. They lower somebody down to get the radio from in the store. They bring it up to the roof, and they go, Bert, you got to get on the roof. Val's trying to get Bert on the roof. They're under the ground, and Bert's not understanding anything they're saying.
No.
He's like, you're not making any sense. What are you talking about? And he's like, we're in some shit. Get on the roof. You're not safe where you are. And they turn on the world's loudest machine for this moment. It's like a shell case polisher.
Yeah,
but they
it's
put
like
all
a
their
tumbler.
Yeah, they put their thing in there and they turn it on, and it's as loud as fucking possible.
It is vibration central.
It's
the point of
it would have been a perfect distraction.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been perfect. They should have used it as a distraction, but they didn't. So they turn it on, and Bert's like, I'm not going on the roof. Like, what are you fucking talking about? And I love that fact that he doesn't want to go on the roof, because you could tell he's got a plan for anything that could happen. Like, why would I go on my roof?
Yeah.
That's where I'm not safe. I have this stuff. I'm good. So the graboid hears the shell case polisher and books it to Bert and Heather's house.
Yep.
Which is fine. And Bert and Heather lock and load, and it goes right through the wall. And this is probably one of the coolest scenes in this movie.
It is absolutely the coolest scene in this movie.
It's a cool scene in this movie because, they have whatever gun they have on them, and they immediately start firing. And that's fine, and that's cool, and you're like, hell yeah, these two are the fighting ones. But then after they run out of ammo on their first gun, they just back up to a legitimate wall o' guns.
Like, it was there the whole time, right behind him.
And we didn't...
Gun after gun
We didn't know.
after
And
gun.
they just, they're just unloading on this thing. It's just a wall of Bert's happy.
And Reba is kicking... Reba. I really just said Reba.
It is Reba. It's Reba McEntire, so it's fine.
She is kicking ass in this scene. I mean, she is just... At one hand, she's got a gun in each hand. Like, she's Lara Croft in it. It's great.
Yeah, she's gonna kill Barbara Jean. It's not...
I can't believe you just said that.
It's... Look... She's fucking this thing up.
Oh my god. You just won the day. That statement just won the entire day.
So, they're unloading on this thing. I mean, at one point, Reba, Jesus.
Sorry, Heather.
At one point, Heather literally shoots it with a fucking flare gun. They're using everything they've got. Bert grabs a elephant gun. And it takes 2 shots, at least, with the elephant gun and the flare to kill it. but it dies. And it's one of my favorite lines in the movie. He says, broke in the wrong goddamn rec room, didn't you, you bastard? And it clearly was supposed to say, fucker. But we had to cut that out for PG-13. So they radio back, and they're like, all right, we killed it. And the quote is, we killed that mother humper.
Yep.
And Val goes, well, there are 2 more mother humpers. Because PG-13, that somehow made it better.
Yeah.
That's weird, but okay. So they get on the roof. They bring the guns. They get on the roof. And Bert
tries more than just the guns. They bring all kinds of shit.
They bring all kinds of shit, but they bring weapons. And they start using the elephant gun to try and shoot through the ground when they can see them moving. And they cannot penetrate the ground. It's underground. You know, dirt really stops rounds, man. It is what it is. So the new plan now is for Bert and Heather. They radio over and say, hey, Bert, hey, Heather, can you guys take your Jeep, take the old Jeep trail up the mountains, and go get help? And they're like, that sounds great. And as they're doing this, the tongues are kind of coming up the side of the building.
Yep.
And they're like, give us 1 second, something weird. This thing's doing something fucking weird. So, I don't know what it ends up doing. I still haven't figured out what it fully did, but it's testing the foundation of this building.
Yeah.
And it's literally shaking the building.
I think it's, like, supposed to show that this thing is smart. Like, it's figuring things out.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just now pushing through. Like, it knows they're up there. And it's trying to figure out how to get to them.
Oh, yeah. This is a malicious monster. He's never full. Never full. What? They eat too many fucking people. They're not that big.
He's never full.
He ate a horse. Like.
And all them sheep.
And this doesn't include any, like, wildlife.
Yeah. There was a lot of sheep there, too. Like, Fred's Sheep Farm was the thing.
Well, at one point, Bert, when they came back from looking for Rhonda, he literally is like, there's no droppings anywhere. How did something eat all those sheep and not have to take a shit? Like... And we know it's underground. He shit down there. Right. Now that we're thinking about graboid shit, do they run into it? I have questions. Like, do they run into their own shit later on? Do they faceplant it? I don't know.
Are they like earthworms? Do they, like, eat the earth? So, like, are they eating their own shit?
If they're eating the earth and people, they need to fucking knock it off and pick a topic. Like, Jesus.
Pick a food group.
Yeah, like... This is not an all-you-can-eat buffet. Pick something and stick
Are you
with
vegetarian? Like, what's happening?
You're too many corners of the pyramid. They don't even use the pyramid anymore.
Too many corners of the pyramid.
Slices? Chunks? I don't know.
Sections?
Yeah, that's the word. That's the one. You're far too quiet, by the way. Now you're not, but...
Oh my god, I can't breathe. I'm gonna pee.
Please do neither of those things.
Okay,
Don't stop breathing. Keep peeing.
I'm good. Okay, I'm fine.
So they're testing the building. They're testing the building, and as they're testing this building and they're looking at it, Val goes, Rhonda, what do you think they're doing now? Rhonda's like, why the fuck are you always asking me? And I love that about this movie. I love that this is a tension moment. And it's still kind of funny.
Yeah.
And it's not overwhelmingly funny. It's not obnoxiously funny. It's not trying too hard. It's just, like, banter.
Yeah. She's like, why are you asking me? Like, how the hell do I know?
Why are you always asking me? So, they realize the buildings are going to be gone by then. You cannot go without the rest of us. There won't be us left.
Yeah.
At this point, they start messing with the buildings. They mess with the shed. They mess with Mindy and Nancy's house. And then they mess with Nestor's. And Nestor's is a trailer. It is not a house. So they flip it. And Nestor ends up on the ground. And Nestor panics and gets on a fucking tire. Like a tractor tire.
So they're screaming at Nestor. They're like, get up off the ground. Get up off the ground. And he decides get up off the ground means climb on top of a tire that's 6 and maybe even 12 inches off the ground. But it's not up off the ground.
No, and there's a hole in the middle, bro.
There's a big old hole in the middle.
They just flipped your house. You think they're not going to handle a tire? I think the most frustrating part of Nestor is, like, he rests his head back like I made it.
Like, he looks relieved. Like, okay, I'm up off the ground.
And you can still hear people like, Nestor, that's not high enough. Like, fucking idiot. No, Nestor. But we do get a cool shot from this. Unfortunately, Nestor gets ate.
Yeah.
Nestor gets got, and he gets pulled through the center of the tire.
Yes.
But you follow by the ground, and you can hear Nestor screaming as it's moving away.
Yeah.
And it's creepy. It's great. It's a good effect. It's like, because there's a bunch of different horror moments in this movie, but this one's like, what if you're still alive underground with that thing?
Yep.
Like, talk about no hope.
Yeah.
Like, that's a couple seconds of pure, unreasonable terror.
Talking about diving for its throat so you can just end it sooner.
Yeah, like this is going to be bad. So, he dies. That's a bummer. But you were kind of dumb, so you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So, as this happens, they're like, we can't just have you guys go. We all have to go. And Heather's like, you know what? We're getting everybody. We're coming to pick you up.
Yep.
As this happens, unfortunately, the other graboid has figured out vehicles and destroys the shit out of Burt's truck.
And they have the only working vehicle
that can handle the Jeep Trail. Yeah. It's the only thing that can handle the Jeep Trail. And they're like, well, fuck. That's the last plan. So now we got to come up with a new plan. New plan.
Val, we need a helicopter.
We need a helicopter. Or a tank, is what he says.
Yes, or a tank.
Which brings up the cat. We can move the cat. We can use the cat. We can use...
They have like a half semi thing.
Yeah, like it's almost like a giant dumpster looking thing on wheels.
It looks like an oil tanker that they like transfer oil or gas in, that they cut the top half off of.
Yeah. They said it's something like an old semi trailer.
Yeah.
So the plan now is someone's got to run for the cat. And Miguel comes up with the idea of like, all right, we have like a little... They call it a tractor, but it's more like a little,
lawnmower?
Yeah, like a riding lawnmower. So he's like, all right, why don't we send the little tractor out? And then as that tractor goes out, one of us can run for it.
Brilliant idea. I love that everybody contributes something.
Oh, yeah, chronically.
Yeah.
Everybody's always contributing something. Nobody's a dead character.
Yep.
Everybody's got a little something. Even Nestor was like, all right, I'm going to kill it with a pickaxe, and I'm going to have an attitude about it, and da-da-da-da-da. But nobody's just bait.
Other than maybe Melvin.
Melvin's attempted comic relief, he's just so fucking annoying. So, the idea, they back and forth, Earl and Val show their love once again because they both want to go running for the cat. They rock, paper, scissors. Earl wins. Last minute, Val hits him in the gut and takes off running. Which works initially. They chase the tractor. They're both going after the tractor. And that sounds fantastic till the tractor tips.
Yep.
And then they stop what they're doing and go after Val. So as they're running after, or as Val's running toward the thing, he has to stop dead in his tracks. He just freezes because they can't hear him. So they got to try and figure out where he is. They are blind. So Rhonda's like, hey, everybody make noise. So they're screaming and hollering and hooting and doing the whole thing, and it's not working. Rhonda comes up with a brilliant plan. Because she's on the water tower, she climbs a couple steps down, kicks the one of the pipes on the water tower, and lets water loose.
Which, so smart.
Brilliant idea. One of the smartest moves in this movie.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, yeah, hell yeah.
It's a big water tank, so all that water hitting, that's a lot of vibration.
It's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And it takes time. It takes so much time. They're going to chase after it for a minute. So, it was brilliant. Val gets to the cat. It totally works. The trailer thing totally works. It's great. He picks everybody up, and they get to Bert and Heather. So they kind of skip showing everybody getting into the cat. But they get to Bert and Heather's. And by the time they're getting to Bert and Heather are making bombs.
Literally.
They are not here to fuck around.
They are making pipe bombs.
They are making legitimate pipe bombs. They get in the thing, and Earl ends up saying, like, hurry the hell up. Every time we stop moving, it starts digging us in. Mm-hmm. So it's already trying to figure out how to outsmart the cat. Like, it's already doing stuff. It's already coming up with a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got to keep moving. So Bert and Heather bring all this ammo. They bring all kinds of shit. They
are loaded for bear.
They are loaded the fuck up. And I love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
They get in the cat. Bert's very upset about losing his house. It's really funny. It's kind of like a funny little scene where he's talking about, I've had a water supply and air filtration and gasoline and this
many
that.
Years of food stored up, and I had everything we needed there.
And goddamn underground worms.
Goddamn underground worms.
No one planned for that. Bert We wouldn't have either. It's not your fault, buddy. But he's really bummed. So they're driving. They're making leeway. They're seeing him do something off in the distance, but they're like, I don't give a fuck as long as it's not messing with me. I don't care. So they're moving right along. They're doing great. And Bert's sitting on the front of the tractor, and they dug a trap. And they see it, but they see it too late. They can't stop the cat in time. So the cat tips into pretty much like a ditch that they created.
Yeah.
And now they're all sitting in the bed of this thing. They end up jumping in the bed because it is metal and they're safe for right now. And Bert, they're yelling back and forth trying to figure out a plan. And Rhonda's like, we can get to those boulders. And they're like, well, yeah, because they're going to get into this thing soon enough. Like, this is only a matter of time. Well, Bert gets mad about them pissing him off, so he throws a bomb out and he goes, everybody duck. Are you hungry? Eat this. And throws a bomb out, and they all scatter. These things don't like the explosions at all. So you hear him scream and kind of run off, bury off, I don't know.
Scurry, slither?
I don't know. It's the world's driest slither. Ew.
Yeah, why did that get gross?
I don't know why the word slither's not good. That's a good movie. We should hit that one at some point.
Yeah.
Stupid movie. Talk about, like, monster worms.
Yeah.
That are aliens. So the new plan, telling you, they always got a plan, is throw a bomb in the direction they want to go in and run. Right?
Yep.
There's 2 of these monsters left. They got 2 graboids left. So they throw the bomb and everybody runs. At one point, Melvin doesn't want to go, and they're like, well, here's a gun. You can go.
Yep.
And Bert hands him a gun, and Bert is a responsible gun owner, so he never loads it for him. Melvin finds out when he's running. It's just a good little moment, because fuck Melvin.
Yep.
Like, if anyone's going to die, let it be Melvin. I mean, yeah. I know he's a kid. He's genuinely a kid.
No, but he's old enough to know better, and he's being a douche.
He's still a douchebag. Shit hits the fan, he's still kind of a little doucher.
Yeah, like, he didn't even want to get up, like, this is way back when they were getting up on the roof. Like, they were like, get on the roof. And he was like, no.
He's like, why, man? All right, don't. Fuck you.
Like, he's just such a jerk.
He's just, yeah, why?
And
like,
he's not even malicious. He's not even mean or evil. He's just
mean.
Annoying.
He's mean. He plays Boy That Crowed Wolfed how many times before he actually needs help?
That's true.
Like, he does not take anything serious. They were just like, hey, people died. And he's like, yeah, but, like, that's cool. Like, and no, douchebag.
Play with this tongue thing.
Yeah, he's just a douche. He's just a total doucher. I like how the worst character is a child that we get to shit on forever.
Yeah, literally.
So they all run, and they make it to the rocks. And we're officially on the rocks now, which is our last stand kind of thing. So somebody talks about giving up, being dramatic. They get into a fight. Bert and Val get into a fight about being men. I don't know.
We even said when it happened, we were like, "What? I don't even know what caused that."
Yeah, you were literally
what just happened?
What just happened? And I'm like, something went wrong, and they got angry about it. Like, that's just what happened. So Bert says something along the lines of, if it comes down to it, and it's between starving or whatever, I'm going to light one of these
homemade pipe bombs,
walk into the middle of this thing and have them take me.
Yep. I'll take him out with me.
And Earl goes, that's not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which is fucked up by itself. But then he's like, no, but, like, that gives me an idea. Why don't we do, like, fishing? Where we, lure them there and then get them to take the bomb. So they're putting fuses on at one point, and Earl goes, where'd you get, this fuse? Or it's like, it's cannon fuse.
Yeah.
Goes, what do you got cannon fuse for? He says, my cannon. And it's just a stupid little line.
He's like, what do you use that for? He's like, my cannon.
Yeah, of course Bert has a cannon. So they do it. They go fishing. They throw a bunch of rocks, get them all in one location, and then they throw the pipe bomb. And by the way, these guys have dead-on balls of accuracy when it comes to... They are right in an itty-bitty target, and every one of them, like, there's like 4 people throwing it. Every person is hitting perfect.
Yep.
So they should have been baseball stars. Instead, they live in perfection.
Yeah.
So it takes the bait, and it blows up.
And it is an amazing scene.
It is an explosive scene, if you will. It explodes, and we find out that it's disgusting.
Oh, because there's orange goo everywhere.
Yeah, it's just like pumpkin goo everywhere. Yeah. So one blew up. There's one left. Stumpy's left.
Good old Stumpy.
Good old Stumpy. So Stumpy's left, and he seems to be the smartest of them all. Well, he ends up, they do the same kind of thing. They try and do it again, and Stumpy spits it out.
Yep. With
And-
also balls on accuracy.
Yeah. Dead on balls accuracy?
Yeah, that's it.
Balls are on accuracy.
Balls are on.
Yes, because they're detachable. So he shoots it back out at him, and it lands in the bag of bombs. Because of course it does.
And obviously that's exactly where Stumpy knew the bag was.
Yeah, no, I think it was just a game of chance on that one. But they all book it to avoid the massive explosion that occurs. Well, I don't know what happens.
I expected the explosion to actually be bigger than it was. Like, just from a viewer standpoint. I felt like the explosion of the worm and the explosion of the bomb and the bag of bombs, I felt like they were about the same size. And I expected the rock one to be
also,
bigger.
another thing about that is, like, I guess movie fuck up. If they're that afraid and that annoyed by the bombs going off, why did it not run away once that happened?
Yeah.
Especially because they bring up the fact that the rock is a conduit for sound.
Yes.
And it, like, amplifies sound. So, like, why didn't he run? What or whatever. We're calling it run, but slide away.
Slide.
I don't know. Crawl away. I don't know.
Tunnel. I don't know.
Away. Yeah, why didn't he tunnel away?
Yeah.
That's the verb. But he doesn't. So, everybody's still in the rock. Don't know why, except for Rhonda, Val, and Earl, of course, because there are 3, right? And they end up a fucking quarter mile away from this rock.
They're a football field away and don't know how they got there.
Yeah, I don't understand it. It is another little movie fuck up. It's fine. So all 3 of them are standing in this field, and they're like, fuck, we don't have a plan. So we end up having them try and figure out a plan, whispering to each other, like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? All right. Throw the bomb, because Val's got a bomb left in his hand. It's the last bomb now, but Val's got one in his hand, and they're like, throw the bomb so we can get back on the rock. He's like, we'll be dead in 3 days. And they're like, yeah, well, I want to be alive for those 3 days. Give me those 3 days. So he's like, I got a plan. And he books it. He goes, I got a plan.
That was dead on accurate, by the way.
Thank you. I nailed it. I can be Kevin Bacon's voice stunt double. So he has a plan. He takes off running, and he goes, where's the lighter? Rhonda's got the lighter. He has a plan. It's just not well thought out. He didn't flesh out this fucking plan.
Because she's like a couple feet behind him.
He's quite a few feet behind him, because he takes off before he's like, fuck, where's the ladder? So he's got a plan. He books it. Rhonda starts following them. All 3 of them are running in the same direction. She catches up. She hands him the lighter. Or she holds out the lighter. I don't think she actually hands it to him. I think she ends up lighting it.
Yeah.
Well, he ends up breaking off a large portion of the, what is that?
The fuse.
The fuse. So it's a very short fuse now. They're like, all right, throw it, because they're at the end of this clip. They're like, throw it, scare him off. What's your plan? Well, he throws it behind the graboid, which makes him speed up, because it goes off behind him, and he wants to get away from that noise. He's freaking out. They both jump out of the way. Val's left standing alone right at the edge of this cliff, and last minute, he jumps to the side, and this graboid goes airborne.
Like, it was a thing of beauty.
Oh, yeah. He gets launched off that cliff. And I'm pretty sure he screams something along the lines of, can you fly?
He does.
Spoiler alert for one of the sequels, I think they fly.
What?
At some point, they evolve and they can fly. But eventually, yes, they can. They can fly. But as of right now,
Stumpy cannot.
Stumpy can't. Stumpy's done. Stumpy lands, and we're all cheering. Everybody's on the rock, and they're cheering. And they look at him like, what? You thought of something? And he goes, stampede. And it brings us full circle back to the beginning of the movie. First off, I love this because at one point in the movie, they literally say the words, running's what you do when a plan fails.
Yep.
Running's not a plan. And in this moment, running was the plan.
Running was the plan.
Running was the plan, and also the stampede thing came full circle as well. Where stampede.
That was a cute callback moment. I liked it.
It was a cute callback, and it was definitely one of those moments that you didn't think would come back. Like, it was just, you're introducing
characters. It was a
characters.
throwaway line, yeah.
Yeah, and it ended up mattering. So, the last couple of scenes, it just shows, Rhonda's taking pictures of them, and she's going to be part of this project now. And they're really weird with each other all of a sudden. Val and Rhonda.
They've been through, like, this hell together.
And they've never been this awkward.
No, but now all of a sudden it's over, and, like, now there's all this tension between them.
So, yeah, they're really weird all of a sudden. Like, for no reason.
None. Like, no reason at all. They've been through all of this together, and they're fine. And now all of a sudden, they're, like, we've never met before.
They're like high school kids. Like, they weren't that weird the first time they met each other.
Literally.
They weren't that weird when he dug up the ass end. Like, they've had time to talk.
They've been through some shit together.
So, they end up having this really weird, awkward, like, well, I'll see you around moment.
And he reaches in and grabs the picture. Oh my god, I forgot about that until right now.
Yeah, and he grabs the picture. He had pictures on his visor of this other girl.
Of, like, the perfect woman with the blonde hair, blue eyes, all that.
They were green eyes.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're correct. They were green eyes.
They were green eyes. Yeah, I mean, that whole part could have been cut out and nothing would have mattered.
Yeah, it was just really weird.
It was like, well, there's not sex in it, so let's make it more sexual. And, like, they just put that, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like, the death and the tension's over now, so I guess we're gonna like each other.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't think it was necessary. I think it would have been better had they just all been like, all right, cool, now this is a project we're all working on together.
Yeah.
But the last scene, he kisses her just so they could get the credits. And
it's not even like a kiss where they're, like, staring into each other's eyes and it looks like this natural evolving moment. It's such an over-dramatic, like, he half dips her and, like, their heads swoop to it's just too much, man.
I'm not a fan.
I'm not either.
I would have been much more of a fan if they were like, all right, now we all gotta, as a team, work together. We got work to do in perfection or whatever. I almost called it Prospect Town again.
Even if they would have been like, hey, like, do you want to go out for coffee? Like, it was just 0 to 100.
Do you want to go to Bixby or something for, like, a day? Like,
anywhere but here.
Literally. But, like, yeah, so I'm not a fan of The Last Shot. They have to have a romantic ending. No part of this movie is romantic until they decide it is at the end.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so that's Tremors from 1990.
There it is.
That's the first of many. After this, Kevin Bacon is not in it until, I think, either a recent movie or a recent show that came out. But Michael Gross is actually who carried this series. Michael Gross Burt ends up being in all of them. Reba's not in any more of them. The credits that roll up is a Reba McEntire song.
Yeah, it is.
So, Reba had her career. She had to go yell at Barbara Jean after this, so...
And make music, let's not forget.
And make music, but, like, that show was funny.
I do love that show.
So that's the end of the movie. It does escalate in the sequels, and we'll probably get into them at some point, because you've never seen them, so it'd be a first watch for you.
Yeah,
I
haven't
love
seen
them in a very long time. They end up having they evolve. There's another one called an Ass Blaster. I think it's named by Bert, but it's an Ass Blaster. So, but it's a fun series. I think everything ended up being straight to video after this.
Surprise.
And the CGI is not great because they had less money to do more with.
Okay.
Because they had to keep building, because that's how sequels work. You have to build on that. So, overall, would you recommend this movie?
So, I don't know that I would, let's say I had just met you. I don't know that I would recommend this movie to, like, a hardcore horror fan. Like, unless I was very explicit with, like, hey, this isn't, like, horror. This is more what horror never wanted to be.
Okay. I couldn't disagree with you more.
Okay.
First off, I would be hard-pressed to find a horror fan that has not seen this movie.
Okay.
You know, that alone, everyone has seen this movie. Horror fans, not horror fans. Most people have seen this movie. Most people know what Tremors is.
Yeah, I saw it way before I had anything to do with horror.
Yeah. So, like, most people, they call them the Tremors instead of the Graboids. Like, dorky fans call them Graboids. Why do you think I call them Graboids? Like, but I would literally recommend this movie to almost anyone.
Really?
There's very little sex in it because of the way they twisted the cussing. It's PG-13. Yeah. This would be a great movie for a bunch of people to come over and watch and just have a good time. It's funny. It's lighthearted. It's not overwhelmingly scary. It's not overwhelmingly terrifying images. It's not gory. It's so PG in so many ways that you can have anybody watch this movie and enjoy it. somebody who's not into horror and is into, like, campy comedy movies would like this movie.
I don't know. I don't know that I 100% agree with you. I like the movie for what it is, but it's a time.
It's a great time.
I see, that's where we differ. I don't know that I would personally consider this a great
So do you think you didn't have a good time watching this movie?
I had an okay time watching this movie.
Okay. Oh, so you're just wrong. Okay.
No, seriously, like, I had an okay time. I can't say that, like, I had a great entertaining time watching this movie. I can't say that.
I'm delighted when I watch this movie. This is a great movie. This is a good comfort movie. This is a good hangover movie. Like, I love this movie. It's a fun time. It's a fun time. They did great with what they had. It was underrated from get-go.
I agree that they did really good things with what they had. And I don't mean to, like, shit on the effects or shit on any of it. Like, I really do think it's an okay movie. It's just nowhere near, like, up there for me. The movie does have some gems about it, though.
The movie is a gem.
No, it has some gems.
It's a gem in the dirt. So what would be your favorite scene then?
Oh, that's so easy. That's so easy for me. Okay, my favorite scene is when they're all on this, like, beautiful, like, rock formation. And it's the last stand. Like, it's visually stunning. I love the timing between all the actors. I love the tension that's built. Like, that is very, very easily my favorite scene.
Okay.
So what is your favorite scene?
Mine is, without a doubt,
Oh, God.
Bert's Rec Room.
I knew it. Just that. So I keep going back between the two.
So Bert's Rec Room, I think, is the first time, like, people actually take a stand and don't fight back out of defense.
Yeah.
They could have ran out of that room.
Offensive. Yeah, I agree.
It's just such a badass, like, no, we're not laying down and dying. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's such a great scene. That scene is the only one that combats. The only other scene that I really love is the Doc and his wife. The shot when the car goes into the ground. You don't even see the car go into the ground. You just see the headlights. And it's such a creepy visual.
Yep. It's a good visual.
All right, so then, bouncing off of that, what's your favorite character?
Oh, Heather. No question. No. Heather is, without a doubt, who I hope I would be if I was ever in a situation like that. There's nobody, like, checking in on her. She doesn't need any help. She has got this shit on lock.
Yeah, she's great. I think she's probably the best character in the movie.
Yeah.
And I know everyone wants to argue Bert is the best character in the movie, and Bert's pretty close. The only issue with Bert is Bert does let his ego get away from him a little bit. Like, Bert is a little hothead. Bert is a little paranoid. Bert gets frustrated very quickly.
Yep.
Bert made a dumb move standing on the front of the tractor. Like, he could have died just because of something stupid like that. Like, Bert does make mistakes. Bert got into an argument with Val.
Yep.
And Heather's the one that calms him down. Like, now's not the time to panic. Let it go. Just let it go.
We'll talk about it later. Heather is badass.
Heather is the one. And I really like Rhonda.
I like Rhonda too, but
Rhonda's
she's
really cool.
You're going to hate me for saying this. I'm saying it anyway.
Most likely.
For me, she's almost forgettable.
So, I like her because she's able to bring a scientific side of it without overwhelmingly giving us science information.
See,
and not just being the science.
If she would have been, like, all about the science and given us all the science information, I would have liked that better.
No, I would have hated it. Like, I like how much they gave us. Because I don't need a reason why. I don't need to know why this fucking alien's here.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't need a fuck. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. I don't care if it's an alien or a fucking dino. I don't give a fuck. So if there was, like, a nerd that was just running around telling us exposition, it would have felt like exposition.
Yeah.
Her going, I don't fucking know, guys. Like,
yeah.
I don't fucking know what's here. I love that so much more because it's real. She doesn't know. She knows as much as you do. She found these things when you did. We all talked about it together. I'm not going to know more than you. And a lot of people, like, or a lot of characters, I should say, in movies are just, I know everything, or I don't know anything. It can't be a healthy, like, dude.
And she is a healthy mix of both. I just think there's something about her that's very background.
I can see that.
All right, so who is your favorite character?
I'm in the air between Heather and Rhonda.
Oh my gosh.
I also love
so
Miguel.
different.
Miguel only shows up to do good shit.
Oh my god, right? He's only helpful.
Miguel only shows up to, like, be useful, make logical decisions, and have no ego.
None.
Miguel's great. Miguel's a hidden gem in there.
Yeah.
Miguel's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think every character had something to add.
Okay.
I think every character brings something to it, even if it's not a lot. But they're not just bodies, where a lot of movies, not everyone makes it.
Yeah.
A lot of movies, you know, a lot of writers would have made it where Val and Rhonda were the only ones that made it. Or that stupid things, like Melvin would have had some overarching I'm a hero bullshit and then dying. Yeah. And none of that shit happened. They're just real people. They keep having a plan. They try and make smart decisions, and that's what makes them likable and relatable, is that they're trying to make the good decisions. They're not the guys going into the attic when you need to run out the front door. Yeah. They're making good decisions, and things are still going wrong for them.
But I like that the majority of them live. I do like that.
I do. I love that half of this town lives.
Right? All right, so who's your least favorite character?
Melvin.
Okay, good. Well, at least we agree on that.
Everybody should be Melvin.
I want to hit him in the head with that basketball.
I want to beat him with a basketball. Everyone's low-key disappointed he doesn't die. And then in hindsight, you're aware that I'm trying to murder a kid. But he's a little douchebag kid. He's earned it.
He is. He is.
With that...
There it is.
Anything else to add?
No, but I really want to know if anybody out there, like, agrees with me that it's an okay movie, but it's not, like... Like, amazing.
I guarantee there are people that agree with you on
I
that.
hope so, because I'm feeling awfully alone right now.
It's the horror genre. Everyone's got an opinion on everything. It's fine. Just so you know, we do have an Instagram up officially. It's Fright Fiends Podcast, all one word, FRIGHTFIENDS Podcast. Nobody knows how to spell fiends, apparently, as I found out when I told my friends about it. How do you spell fiends? Crap, I should have picked another word.
I like it, though.
So, Fright Fiend Podcast on Instagram. We are getting it up and running. It's still in the early stages, but follow us on there. We will be posting what we're doing. We will also, I try and do, like, every day or every other day, post, like, a vote. Like, what would you like to see? Who's your favorite character in this? Just because I like other people's opinions. So definitely throw your opinion out there. I'd love to hear from it. Rate us wherever you get your podcast or wherever you hear us from. Or comment, like, subscribe, whatever the heck is available. But
I think that's it. I think that's Tremors.
I think that's it. That's Tremors. Thanks so much. I'm Jess.
And I'm Mandy.
Thanks for listening. And stay tuned for the next episode.